Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are tuning in from. This is the BS Buddies podcast. I'm your host, Joe. That's your host, Ian. And today, Ian and I are going to look at the Shrek reveal trailer thing. We're going to watch it. We're going to do a react to it.
The big pop culture thing, so we gotta be current. We're two modern age gentlemen who clearly keep up so well with pop culture.
We'll still be like 4 days late by the time this video goes out.
It's fine. There'll still be plenty of hubbub about it.
But we're gonna switch. We're gonna play it, and you can see our faces, and then we'll talk about it.
That was instantaneous. That's amazing.
Let's just watch it.
Hey, Magic Mirror, who's the fairest of them all? Why, Shrek, of course. Ah!
Ew, Dad!
Ooh, Mommy like.
Who's making this stuff?
Whoa! Shrek 5, starring Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, and Zendaya? Oh, damn. Only in theaters, Christmas 2026.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I Joe, I think I've been scarred for life. I think what? I've been so flashbanged. I've been. God, I gotta pull up on the other screen. I just need. What did I just watch?
I feel like my initial reaction is I feel like I need it to be a minute long to really digest what just happened. I'm as it's setting in, I'm understanding more like why you feel flashbang, because I also feel it. It's like, wait, I just watched that.
That took like that. That was a lot more. Like, okay, because I've seen the screenshots.
Yep.
On social media of like all the family members there, because most people were up in arms about like the design change, and we'll get to that. Don't you worry, dear viewers. We'll get to that. We need to talk about what I saw on that mirror in the 5-second.
We will get to that. The first thing I want to preface is when Ian and I were growing up, that's when the Shrek movies first came out, because I can't speak for Ian, but like Shrek is near and dear to my heart. Okay, his as well. I've seen all 4 Shreks. I feel like Shrek 4 was a fever dream. I don't really remember that much. But Shrek, I think and 3 as well. I have one big question that I don't think anyone has asked. Where are the other 2 kids? Because I'm pretty sure they had triplets. Where are the other 2 kids?
They did have triplets.
Why is Zendaya here and the other kid's just gone?
The other kid. God, what happened to the other kid? They're in college, maybe. They're in school. They're in swamp school.
But they're triplets, so they should all be the same age. Unless they're just in their bedrooms, and is Zendaya voicing all of them?
I'm gonna be really mad if the other 2 kids don't get like any screen time and they just get like cameoed like a couple of times just so that they can bring in some big name voice actors like God, maybe like Justin Timberlake or something. Tom Holland for some reason is gonna be there. Like,
I would love if they say the 2 got lost one day and they just never found them, and at the very end, like they're like through a forest, and it's like they finally see, oh, we found home, and it's like 2 very famous actors who do it.
Oh God. You know what I can see them doing? Is, and I really hope that I'm not being like blessed with the gift of prophecy right now, but I can 100% see them as like the other 2 are out of the movie for some benign reason, and then at the very end we find the other 2 kids, and then it's like teased that like, oh, there's going to be more sequels, and then we're going to talk about their story. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like at the very end, it's like shows the other 2 kids, and then it's like hints that there's going to be a Shrek 6.
Ugh, God, I don't. Oh, okay. So the first Shrek, I looked at the first Shrek came out in 2001. I was 4.
Same.
I was four
I was
years
also
old.
4.
And God, okay. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. One of the things that made the original Shrek movies timeless classics, right, is that the story is a universal experience, right? Like you need no outside knowledge of pop culture references or anything like that to enjoy the humor that is like there's a couple sprinkled in there here and there, and obviously that was for the parents of the time to make fun of. And like but there was dirty humor, there was all these different aspects that played into because it was a different time. You know what I mean? Like 24 years ago, it was a different time in these kids' movies. And just in the 30 seconds that we saw, there was like 3 brain rot to use the new slang, the Gen Z slang. There was like 3 brain rot clips in there that I didn't need to see Shrek doing the whatever thing with his face with
The
the
duck lips.
sunglasses. Yeah, not even what do they call that?
Hold on.
Mewing? Do they
I
call
got
that?
to watch this again. It's like,
They call that like mewing or something like that when you like I can't I don't know how to do it. I don't know what that is. I'm not they like suck in the cheeks to like
yeah,
make
I
make your
I
jawline.
see which one you're.
Yeah. And then they had the dancing Shrek, and that's like 100% they put that in there to like scratch the surface at some of the horrific memes that have been made about the Shrek franchise, and
Look,
that's
I also want to say, looking at it, they turned comments off.
they
So
they knew. They 100% knew what they were doing. Like the muscled Shrek. The muscled Shrek. Do you know how many horrific memes exist from that frame?
Shrek is love.
And not even to mention that they have what do they have on the side? It's supposed to be like TikTok symbols on the side of the mirror,
Yeah,
like
like
the user
filters, like Snapchat filters and stuff like that.
I, now okay. Granted, every Shrek has had a few pop culture references of its time, but just based on this alone, gives me worry in my heart because I'm scared of what's gonna happen. And now this is Universal, but the original one was DreamWorks, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, the original one was like DreamWorks or whatever. So why?
Unless they're combined. I don't know.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm
Don't quote
not
me on that.
familiar, but Donkey just looks wrong. Like like of all the design changes that I see right now, Donkey looks the most incorrect, I could say. Like he doesn't look like Donkey. You know I know what Donkey look. That's not Donkey. I know what Donkey does. Donkey looks like Donkey. That's not Donkey. That is that is Donkey's. I don't know. That's a skinwalker in the shape of Donkey,
So
pretending to be.
I got the still pulled up that everyone's talking about, and I think I'm on the opposite side of like everyone. I think it makes sense. Like obviously Shrek and Donkey are gonna have some age added to them. Like when was? Can you look up when Shrek 4 came out? Because it's been, I want to say, a decade since, and I like that they show age to the characters. Like Fiona still looks Fiona looks like she should. I will say 1000%. I don't. I haven't seen specifically if anyone's complained about how Fiona looks or if it's just Shrek and Donkey, but Fiona looks like 100% accurate.
I
Obviously,
think. Yeah, she looks
like
the most. Shrek 4 was 2010. So the order of the
so
movies goes.
15 years ago.
Yeah, Shrek 1 was 2001, Shrek 2 was 2004, Shrek the Third was 2007, and then Shrek Forever After was 2010.
That
Now,
one
Shrek
was
Forever
depressing.
After, yeah, Shrek Forever After. Well, it was actually kind of good because I like that they brought Rumpelstiltskin into it because I'm kind of remembering more of it now. That's when Shrek, like, oh, he wished that he was a terrifying ogre again, and he went back in
He
time, and they.
wishes that his kids weren't born, he didn't have a wife, and he didn't know anyone.
Okay, well, okay, it's not necessarily that he wished that. He just wanted to feel like it was essentially the play on the old, man's having a midlife crisis, realizes he's getting older, he wants to feel like he did when he was young, and so he Rumpelstiltskin tricks him into taking all these things from him, and Shrek didn't realize that he's like, "Oh, I loved what I had in front of me. I was still myself. I was just, different." And oh my God, I just can't. December 23rd, 2026 is when it's supposed to come out?
Yeah, so we're still a year and a half away. Like almost a full 2 years.
I suppose they needed enough time to hear all the backlash. And so that they could change.
I did see a meme where they showed like the original design of Sonic and like how
Yeah,
everyone was like so pissed. And they're like, we did it once, we can do it again. But me, I don't see a huge issue with this. I need to know what the story is. Because obviously, the last time we saw this family, Zendaya's character was wee little baby. So obviously, there's 15 to 20, I don't know how old she is in this, 15 to 20 years.
yeah.
Shrek has fathered 3, I think they're all girls.
I thought two of them
have,
were boys.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
I
think
don't
it
know either.
matters. The triplets probably
The other
ages
two
you
aren't even
like
present,
crazy.
so I don't. God, like like I don't think the design is terrible. I don't think it like Sonic worthy levels of like, oh my God, what have you done to our beloved character? And granted, I don't know how copyright like issues work between studios, but couldn't DreamWorks like share their model? Like it's different enough that I notice it. It's different enough that I'm looking at it going like, I've seen Shrek. I know what Shrek looks like. This looks like it'd be like Shrek's like brother that, I'm not familiar with. You know what I mean? Like it's just different enough that I'm very, very, very confused. Like, why didn't you just use the original model? But, like I'm also in the same boat of like, okay, it's not the worst thing I've seen. But like I said, Donkey, I know what Donkey looks like. That's not Donkey. That's not Donkey. Donkey's the biggest change in my mind.
I'm mostly interested to see what the story will be. I know I just said that, but like,
Yeah.
I wonder where they're going to go with it. Like, the Shrek universe is fairy tales, and they've used a lot of different fairy tales. So, are they going to incorporate a new fairy tale into this? Like Jack and the Beanstalk?
They
Like,
could.
do they
They
have
very
to
well
go
could.
steal a golden egg for some reason? I I want to clip this whole episode. Like, what if we're right on so many of these things?
You say that, and then there's going to be like some executive at Universal is going to like stumble across our stuff. He's like, oh, "That's genius! Why didn't we think of that? Change the production plan!" And then the whole thing will be revamped.
It's like they've only gotten 30 seconds done of the movie.
This is it. This is the only thing this is the only thing they've rendered. There's nothing else done for the movie. They're waiting for the internet to just collectively come together and spit out the ideas that they need
They got like
to
half
do
the
this.
movie that they can easily change a few things. They got
Yeah,
it mostly put together, and it's like, let's make sure of what the audience wants, and we'll change it as best we can.
we'll change it accordingly. See, okay, here's my fear, right? I'm not entirely against a new Shrek movie, but as is the case with Hollywood in general, and to use a sort of turn of phrase, a bastardization of like some very classic films that a lot of people have loved. I'm really worried that it's gonna be just milked for its content populator. Because I mean, like when Shrek came out, I'm sure many people have heard this. Prince of Persia and Shrek were being worked on the same time, and Prince of Persia was 2D animated and Shrek was 3D. And at the time, 3D was very new. People that the studios didn't know if people were gonna like 3D. It was like, oh God, this is gonna be something like we're gonna see how this turns out. And people who were working on Shrek, that was considered like the punishment. Like you either got to work on Prince of Persia, which was like, yeah, it's going to be great, or you screwed something up, go work on Shrek. And Shrek ended up becoming the timeless classic that we know and love today. And what concerns me the most is that when they take these IPs that have established themselves as like, here's a classic franchise, here's what everyone loved about it, they take it and they're just like, all right, here's everything everyone loved about the original. Let's turn it on its head. And let's just bank off the success of our predecessors, which I'm not against trying new things. Trying new things is how we get stuff like Shrek. It's like, wow, this is really cool. But what I don't want them to do is I don't want them to like retcon stuff or like butcher the previous movie's like established story for the sake of just trying to run from its success. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say anything definitively right now. That maybe we've got another golden nugget in our hands and we don't even know what we're holding yet.
Or a golden egg.
But yeah, or golden egg, golden beanstalk, golden beans. But like I said, I feel apprehensive because just looking at other franchises that have had this happen, it's kind of like, okay, like this is one of the movies that I loved when I was a kid, and granted, it's a new generation, it's a new audience, new people they're trying to reach, kids, whatever. But it's just kind of one of those things. It's like, please don't just cut down the legacy of what I loved for the sake of a quick cash grab. You know what I mean? That seems to be a common theme in Hollywood these days.
I'm very optimistic, honestly. Even just 30 seconds in, I don't feel like DreamWorks. I think they know what's at stake. Like, if they do everything you just said, like, hey, let's bring back a bunch of old jokes and do the same old, make a new movie, like retcon stuff, or just make it not make 100% sense, you're going to kill the whole thing. I feel
Yeah.
like showing this almost 2 years in advance, I think is very smart by them, and I think they want to do the best job they possibly can. I have full faith in them, and I mean, if we go watch a movie in 2 years and they did the opposite, I'm going to be very upset. But
Now,
I
yeah. And like I said, oh, sorry. Oops, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think they know the weight of what this could do for their whole franchise. If they want to bring new people in, they got to do what they've been good. Like, they make a movie like Shrek 1 or 2 where, like, there's a good plot and they have these off brand funny jokes. Like, I always think of the one from Shrek 2 where you're talking about the Bronco and they're evading
Yeah, we
the
got
police.
we got a white Bronco heading south. We got a bag of catnip. That's not mine.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like, not trying too hard to be funny. And like, I think of SpongeBob a lot in that way. Like, watching new
Yeah.
SpongeBob, they just recycle old jokes that they used in seasons 1 through 4. I'm like, oh yeah, you're ripping yourselves off and you're doing it less funny and you're not making new jokes. Like, I don't want it
Yeah.
to be that.
And that's what I think the thing that made the old movies great was like you had these phenomenal stories that were built around character arcs and like a general plot line that you could follow. And then what they did is they're like, okay, we have this plot. Where can we sprinkle in some funny jokes? And now what you see is almost like a reverse flip of that, where a lot of these movies are like, okay, how can we design a plot where we can just shove in as much pop culture references and humor as possible. And it's like, well, that's not what made the original ones funny. It made the original ones funny is because you were watching Shrek 2 tonight on Nights, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, the reference to the car, that's funny. Yeah, I get it. No, it's a clever joke. And then the rest of the show would continue on, and you're like, all right, that's great. And then they would sprinkle in another one, and it was like it was spread out enough that you could take some time to savor and appreciate what they've done with it. And so I'll say that like I'm hesitantly optimistic. Like I think it's right now. I think it'll teeter on the fence. Either they'll go the Sonic route and they'll listen to what the people want, and it'll turn
And then
into
make a
a
banger
phenomenal.
trio of movies.
Yeah, it'll turn into just a phenomenal thing. Or in the bad route is that they just go tone deaf to what everyone's saying and they just let it fall on its face because they want to just try and make something for the really young kids like ho ho we know what the TikToks are and the YouTube shorts is and hey here's a cameo from your favorite YouTuber for like 30 seconds and then 5 years down the road all those jokes are going to be out the window and only people who remember this era of internet culture are going to really get what the movie was about.
They're definitely going to do something with like shorts and like making fun of them, like Shrek
Hmm.
just not understanding them. But I think what'll make or break this movie is if they let Mike Myers, for sure Mike Myers, but Eddie Murphy and Cameron Diaz also go hand in hand with the writing. And
Yes.
I want to
Yeah.
say Zendaya as well. Like people probably knock on her a lot, but she's brilliant. Like she made her own show. She's in movies. She knows what she's doing, and she is the same age as us. So she grew up with Shrek, and if something's like very off, I feel like she'd be very vocal and be like, "This is dumb. Don't do
Yes.
this."
And that's definitely my hope. I would hope that because she's a phenomenal actress. Like I will say that she does a very good job as an actress. She plays her roles really well. And yeah, what I'm really hoping is that it's not. I want her to sort of look to Cameron Diaz, Eddie Murphy, and Mike
Yep.
Myers. I mean, they're the three that
Yeah,
made the original
1000%.
series what it was, and I want her to go, okay, that's great. Like, what do you guys think about if we do this? Like, sprinkle in some stuff for the newer audiences, but I want to keep that formula that made the original ones great. Because I mean, did you ever hear that Shrek was originally supposed to be voiced by Chris Farley before his unfortunate passing?
I think I've
And
heard that. Yeah.
there are a few tapes out there. They never got animated, but there's a few like sketch scenes and a few voice lines that was recorded by Farley before he unfortunately left us. And then Mike Myers stepped in to fill the role, and he recorded the whole movie in his normal voice. And then he thought, well, I've got some like I think it was like the Scottish language. He's like, I've always had an adoration for the Scottish language. I think it sounds it's very unique sound, and he's like, let me try and like sprinkle some of like a Scottish brogue through there. And so he just re-recorded all of the scenes, and the producers were like, that's fantastic, we're going to run with this. And that's one of the things that but Myers definitely knows this character, and like they all know their characters really well. And so yeah, I'm hoping that they've got the input down of what they think should happen.
Yeah, I think Mike Myers has to be at the helm out of the four, and then the other three just need to like support. Like, I feel like
Collaborate.
Mike Myers is open enough to like take. I feel like he'll be the middleman between everyone, but he's known for his comedic genius. Let
Hmm.
him run with
Yeah.
it. Let him do what him and the other three are good at.
Yeah, because if Mike Myers takes the helm, he's going to have plenty of jokes for the older audiences to enjoy, and then he'll still be like, "All right, now let's sprinkle some new stuff in for the kids too," because
Zendaya,
that's where the balance comes
we needed a new school joke.
in. Give
I
me something for the TikToks or the Instagrams, and I
I
swear to God, if they make a Shrek is Love reference
I
at
will
all,
lose it. I
I'm
will
gonna
lose it.
I'm gonna leave the theater. I'm gonna walk up out
The
of the theater. I'm gonna go.
the one thing I just thought of that I think would be hilarious. I can't remember what it's called, but Zendaya's show. I would love if her character is sitting on, like, if they have a couch, flipping through channels, and like a fairy tale version of her show is on, and she's like, "Ew, gross."
And just click and just junk and just move to the next one. Oh, that would be funny. That would be very funny. Well, I, I don't know. I guess time will tell. Like I said, I'm hesitantly optimistic, but there's also a little part of me, and this is just to play devil's advocate. There's a little part of me that's also kind of like, let the series be put to rest. And I'm not saying that I don't want like no more Shrek movies ever. But like obviously Shrek and Fiona's story, we've had its arc, we've seen all their adventures, it's been a fun time with them. Like I if they bring in the three kids and they're like, "Hey, the next string of movies is going to focus not solely on the kids, but mainly on the kids and like maybe you'll see Shrek and Fiona like every once in a while." I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind a new story for us to follow under the name of Shrek, obviously, but you know, it's a small part of me that just whispers like, you know, they've had their good run. Let good things be good things. You know, there's no reason to beat a dead horse. So
Yeah,
hesitantly optimistic is what I'll stick with.
if this movie ends up being a good to great movie, I'd just say, like, end the series on a great note. No one talks about Shrek 4. Some people talk about Shrek 3. 1 and 2 they always reference, but yeah, if you go out with a bang, I would just end it and be like, "Yep, we're happy with that, and let's move forward." I really hope they don't make a very sad ending.
If
I'm
they
not
make a
gonna
sad
say
ending,
what I'm thinking, but I think you can tell. Don't do that.
it's gonna end up like the king from what is it in the third one when he's like,
I'm
"Oh,
dying.
well, somebody better be
Better be
dying.
dying.
I'm dying." Ugh. My successor is Blech. And then the fly buzzes out of him. Whack! And he snatches the fly out of the air. If they do something like that, I'm gonna be like, oh, they're really trying to ham it up for the audience. But I don't
I,
know. I guess we'll see.
otherwise, I think we've talked about this plenty long enough. What are your thoughts down below? Most people hate this.
Yeah.
This change is tough for them, but I'm very optimistic. Like, if they crash and burn, like, I've watched
It's their own
Shrek
fault.
Forever After once in the theaters in 2010, and I haven't bothered looking at it. Like, I don't think it
Then
could be worse.
I think if they crash and burn, it'll be by their own hand. You know, audiences still plenty love Shrek. They still love the old, and you know, even the animation of the old movies still holds up very well today. So, if they crash and burn, it's 100% entirely from their own hand, their own misguidance. They did it to themselves. So, I'm just gonna be like, all right, fellas, the ball is in your court. What are you gonna do with it? You know.
Yeah, but with that, if you want us to review any other new trailers that might be coming out, let us know. And thank you guys for asking with us today. Ian, thank you for the last episode covering the outro while I dealt with a possible bat issue. That wasn't an issue at all. Um, but subscribe to become a bud today, and we will see you next time when I think we're going to make a grocery store next. I don't know. That's an idea.
We'll see you when I don't have to get flashbanged by Shrek with an 8-pack on my screen in 10 seconds. So I'm definitely gonna go take her easy now. And you should too. See ya.